A live look now at Michigan Central Station this morning. It was 1 week ago that the station celebrated an anniversary because on June 11th of 2018, the Ford Motor Company bought Michigan Central and the former Detroit Public Schools Book Depository. They had a vision to turn that 2 acres of vacant land into a major hub for innovation. That obviously became reality. So we dug into the local 4 archives and found the story we first showed you when Ford officially took over the station. It brings me some great joy to say Rod Maloney has that story.
A century ago, when Detroit was second only to New York City, this was the place to be, the train station. Over time, it diminished in many ways. By 1992, when the Maroon family bought the place, it really fell into disrepair. The Maroons say they wanted to redevelop it, couldn't do it profitably. That is, until today. And now, Detroit's redevelopment goes into overdrive. Now former owner Matthew Maroon delivered an I told you so moment.
The depot will become a shiny symbol of Detroit's success and progress. Ford Motor Company's blue oval will adorn the building.
This after the city council ordered the building demolished in 2009. Maroon and his father wanted to rebuild the place, but instead greenlighted a giant development Ford plans for the depot and the next door Book Depository.
I know that the city was looking for a moonshot with Amazon, but I think we got what's really fitting for our city.
We haven't often gotten good looks at the inside of the old ornate classic. Actor Shia LaBeouf made it a movie star a decade ago in the first Transformers. Ford's Syed Deep tells us its pending transformation remains top secret.
For all of us who've grown up here, it's an exciting day for the city. It's an exciting day for Ford, right? And together with the community here, right, we'll announce our plans for Michigan Central Station and Corktown on June 19th.
Richard Gonzalez and Alvia Flores live in the neighborhood. He played hooky from work today to hear the historic announcement.
It's going to make it more beautiful than it already is, and this is what we needed for the city of Detroit to come back together as it was when we were kids.
But talk about having a premonition there. So Rod showed us where we were 7 years ago. Let's talk about now where Michigan Central is going. Joining us this morning now, Josh Sirefman. He is the CEO of Michigan Central. First of all, I know a 7-year anniversary is kind of a random day to be celebrating here, but when this all came to fruition and you realized at the time that Ford was buying and this was going to be a much bigger to-do, were you thinking then that this project would become what it is now, or were we still a little unsure?
Well, you know, it's really gratifying to see the broadcast from then, because the vision that Bill Ford had, that Ford Motor Company had, has really come to fruition and has come to life. And, you know, there's endless stories about the challenges, whether the physical restoration of the building or, you know, how do you create that vision and how do you make it happen? But it's real. And I don't think anyone, you know, at Ford, I think people never doubted. I know Bill never did. And we're really happy to see it. It's also a 1-year anniversary from actually opening the station.
Right. Right. I don't know about you. I tend to wear my emotions on my sleeves, for better or for worse. And I remember standing in one of the grand arches of the large room there, and I kind of shed a tear just looking around and looking at the architecture and the rehabilitation and the revitalization of the building. Like, can you imagine if all this was gone?
Yeah, you're not alone. The building has a real power to it.
Yeah.
You know, we've had, since we opened it, over 300,000 visitors, and probably 75% of them have shed a tear, and people get very emotional. Everybody has either a personal connection to it, and it could be intergenerational, or just what it symbolizes and its rebirth. It really has this emotional resonance for people.
Yeah, so can you kind of walk us through what has happened inside the building and what's there now? Because even since the opening, you've done some incredible things.
Yeah, we've really been going there. In the station, in the tower, we have our youth floor, which was the first people working in the building since the early 1980s. With the Boys and Girls Club, with our Google Code Next program. Ford has 3 floors of business units and a collaborative hub. On the ground floor, we do all kinds of events. We do public programming. We do tours. It's really a hub of activity all the time. We have retail that's active there. And we just announced the next big step for the building, which is the hotel, Nomad Detroit at Michigan Central.
Yeah. When you look at each individual floor, it seems like each floor has its kind of own story and own character too, doesn't it?
Yes, that's very true. And you know, my favorite is that the top 5 floors were never finished and never occupied.
Oh, really?
There was this notion that other railroad companies would would bring railroad clerks and others to have their offices there, and it didn't happen. And so for the first time now, those floors will come to life.
So what did it look like up there when it had never been touched, ever?
The top two floors are amazing. The ceilings are high. The windows are beautiful. You know, you can see them from the ground. It's like the rest of the building. There's a ton of graffiti and signs of the period where it was, we refer to it as a temple of culture during that time.
That's a very nice way to put it.
So, you know, it's actually really spectacular. And having the hotel up in there will be amazing.
Going through we'll call it the rehab process, how many different times, or maybe you lost track of it, how many did you peel back a layer and realize, now we have to do that, now we have to pump out this water, that has to go, we're going to do this over here?
Well, you know, the famous story is when the team discovered a second basement. And, you know, for a building that scale, how you hide a basement is complicated.
Yeah. In terms of the stories from people visiting and going back, you know, decades of what the building used to be, do you have a favorite? Have you heard a favorite?
Oh, there's so many. There's
right?
so many. You know, I've heard so many stories of people either arriving for this first time to moving to Detroit, whether literally older folks who still remember arriving, coming from the South or around the world. A lot of really moving stories of people either leaving or arriving back from World War II. It's really endless. They're all amazing. It's every single story is moving.
When Rod's story was airing, you and I quickly talked about how they could have been gone. Like, the city council voted to tear that down in 2009.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine, I can't begin to fathom what an immense loss that would have been for this city.
Yeah, it's an incredible story and lesson in perseverance and the power of restoration. Mm-hmm. You know, that building has such history, and you can feel it. And what I love is that we're doing all this work now also around innovation and technology. And in the building next door, also the former Book Depository building, where, you know, we've now got 240 companies involved at Michigan Central. And they're doing cutting-edge work in these older buildings, and there's something very special
there
about
is.
that.
And I wanted to talk to you more about the idea of this innovation hub, right? So, you know, it's for us older folks, some of these buzzwords, I don't understand all of it, but this is a very big deal because some of the next tech and next big ideas are going to come from these two buildings.
Oh, there's no question. Amazing work happening around what we call advanced aerials, so the use of drones for all kinds of purposes, work around electrification, around material sciences, advanced manufacturing is happening in those buildings. The future could very well be invented there.
Yeah. Speaking of the future, what does the future look like for the station? Like, what's next? What are we doing now? Are all the floors filled?
Well, we'll work on the hotel to get to our opening in 2027, and that'll take both the top 5 floors and some of the amazing spaces on the west side of the ground floor. We'll continue with our public programming. I should say on Friday the 27th, 2 things happen. One, we have pop-ups from 2 amazing Detroit institutions, Source Books and People's Records, will be setting up in the shop at Michigan Central. And that Friday night, we'll have a takeover by People's Records with all kinds of programming for the public. And we'll have more to come on additional tenants, on more retail activities. We'll have a lot to keep going with.
I remember one of the initial conversations during the grand opening was that bottom floor, you were hoping for, kind of an open air marketplace where little shops and coffee shops, and you could just kind of hang out and spend your afternoon there. That's where the direction we're heading in, right?
Oh yeah, and one of the best kept secrets is, we have Yellow Light Coffee and Donuts, but the room that used to be the women's waiting room is now something we call the study. Anybody can go in there and hang out, do work, have a coffee, relax. It's an amazing experience, and that's open every day.
Right. It's also fun, I'll say, because I'll use the word synergy. When you just walk around that area, not just even inside the building, but you kind of get the feel that everything is now connected. And there's people moving around, and there just seems to be, again, there's synergy that the station brought back to life.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that because that's what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, right. And was that the goal? Was that something in your mind?
Yes, absolutely. The goal is to both foster this community of innovators, but also create a really dynamic environment where everybody feels welcome and can be a part of it.
Right. What's it like for you now, 7 years later after the purchase of this? Do you think, or did you know it was going to feel like this, or were you hoping, or both?
Well, I just get to be the voice you're talking for. There's an incredible team of people for the last 7 years have been involved, and I think for every single individual, it's been both an extraordinary experience and one they've never doubted. There's been a conviction, and it's true for everybody who's worked on it, that this is an incredible responsibility we have.
And the venue itself, I mean, if you can rent it out and have parties there now, can't you?
Oh, yes. We have a thriving events business. We have all kinds of things happening there. It's an amazing space. We've had, from conferences and conventions to weddings and other events. It's always something happening.
Can you imagine the photos? I'd love to see them. All right, Josh, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming early on
Yeah.
what is today? Wednesday, on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. Take care.